I can't remember a time in my life when Edmarc was not a part of my family. When Madison was born, she was very, very, very young. She was in the hospital, and I actually met an Edmarc parent there. And I did not even know what Edmarc was. I mean, I was young. I was 21. I had a baby that they told me to take home and not expect anything out of, and it wouldn't hurt so bad when she was gone.
They didn't think that he was going to make it through the pregnancy, but they said that even if he did, it would probably only be a month after birth that he would live. And so we decided to follow up with Edmarc and see what we could do to make him the most comfortable if he was able to spend some time with us after he came out.
My baby was discharged from the hospital, and they told me to say goodbye, give him the best, because the seizures and his pneumonias. And the doctor referred me to an organization, they say, that help with the kids. When your kid is sick, everybody suffers, because him being in the hospital, doctor appointments, your other kids kind of, you forget about, their games, school. And it was nice to, it was nice to know that there's other people that are there to help you and your kids.
We've worked really hard to get kids into our program, get them out of the hospital, get them home, treat them aggressively, and hope and pray that they are not going to need our services anymore. And that happens. Not enough, but it does happen. And that's the difference with children's care, is that kids are resilient. They can bounce back from things that you and I probably never could as an adult. But sadly, hospice is about end-of-life situations. And regardless of how much these kids fight, sometimes they lose their battles. The staff is there.
There is no other place like Edmarc. Being a nurse is fulfilling, generally speaking, but what you get personally and professionally from these children and families, they're just going through so much. But at the end of the day, kids still want to be kids, and when I come in with a stuffed animal or a toy and that child could be in pain or they could have had something happen that day, they're just happy. They still have a smile on their face, and the rewards that gives me personally and professionally, it's just incomparable to anywhere else I've ever been.
I can't fix the big things, I can't make them better, but if I can listen, support them, and change some small thing, make something a little bit easier, then I feel pretty good about that.
Is that special piece of life that you don't get in a hospital, and you don't get in a physician's office, and you don't get in the emergency room when your child is in crisis. Edmarc doesn't get paid for doing things like this, but they give their heart.
It's a place where they meet a new family, and that is us, the team of Edmarc, who come into their life, sometimes not very welcomed, but towards the end of whatever their trajectory might be, whether it's a healthy discharge or their child dies, we become one.
When somebody initially tells you that you have to have hospice and you have to, have all of these different things, you don't want to be there. You don't want to be part of it. But as time progresses through the illness, and in this case the passing, you keep holding on and coming back and looking for those people even afterwards. My biggest fear is that he would ever be forgotten. And coming in here, I know that he's not forgotten.
I made friends with staff. I made friends with other families. Friendships that Well, today's Maddie's birthday. She would have been 26. So friendships that, 25 years later are still strong, are still valid friendships who never walked away.
We try to normalize their lives. And you can do that by allowing kids to be kids. And they know when they come to the picnic, the fall fest, our Easter party, Christmas party, carnival, and on and on and on. They know that maybe for just a few hours, they can forget.
When I go to Edmarc celebrations, Christmas and Halloween, and he can be a normal kid with an outfit, and everybody comes to him and say, oh, how cute he looks. That is what I love the most. He's a normal kid with Edmarc.
Sometimes when people hear our name, they think that it's kind of like giving up. That's not what we do. We're all about supporting the family, guiding them, doing as little or as much as they need to make it easier for them. I mean, that's what Edmarc does. I mean, we're like a big family. I know that sounds crazy because we're an organization, but we have professionals come in our door and say the same thing.
We're a staff of 15 strong and mighty. But that's it, 15. And there's so many things, so many more things we'd like to do, but there just isn't enough time in the day. So our volunteers help fill the void. Where would Edmarc be without our volunteers? They do anything and everything.
Weeding the garden, coming and helping clean out the cupboards in the kitchen, reorganizing the food pantry, making a meal for a family, because when you come home from the doctor, from the hospital with your family, the last thing you want to think about is, do I have groceries in the cupboard and what can I make with it, when you're just exhausted emotionally and physically. So the ways to help Edmarc are unlimited.
I found something that I didn't really want when I first heard about it, something that I was like, yeah, we're not going to need that, but thanks for telling me about it. I realized how much I needed it and how much I absolutely refused to give it up at this point in my life.
Folks have asked in the past, how do you guys do this? And I think if you asked everyone at Edmarc, whether it was a staff person or a volunteer, I think their response simply would be, how can we not? If these children go through what they endure every single day, these parents, these brothers, these sisters, and the extended family members go through what they go through each and every day, we shouldn't have any trouble getting up in the morning and supporting them, wrapping our arms around them as little or as much as they need. Today might be different than tomorrow. But one thing's for certain, we're not going anywhere. We'll be here for the long haul. And families have told us that once an Edmarc family, always an Edmarc family.